Hello, dear friends. Thank you for joining me today. The reason for this video is I want to show you a little bit how to manage Azure resources using Power Automate Desktop. Right? Since you're working with Power Automate Desktop, you're probably familiar with Azure. And the action I want to show today is very simple. So I use a Power Automate Desktop and I connect to a specific Azure subscription, which is my Test Enterprise subscription, and then I remove a resource group. So I run just one single action to delete a resource group. Why could this be done? So let's say you have a life cycle management for your resources, right? Or you can create a sandbox for one of the teams in your company, and then when they get done with this resource group, it can be removed automatically using Power Automate Desktop. Of course, this is not the only way to do it, but I'll show you how you can do it using Power Automate Desktop. So let's have a look first at some general documentation, right? When we work with Azure Actions, there are some things that we can do. So this is, some of the actions we can do. For example, get resource groups, create, delete. That's the one I want to run. Get snapshots, restart VMs, etc. So you can learn these actions at a Microsoft official documentation site. And I'll show you how to run this specific one. So for this action to delete a resource group, we would need input parameters. For input, we take Azure client, so the client which it connects to the Azure, and also the resource group name. Let me see. So this one I can delete. I have a resource group which is called a very creative name. It's called F, right? So we will remove this group with a one letter word, and let me go to the Power Automate desktop. So here I have already pre-created these tasks. So the first task I do is create session, then I delete the resource group, and then I end the session. Of course, I can add additional tasks like to filter resource groups based on a specific creation date or based on the owner, things like that. But for now, it's very simple. Of course, all these actions you can find here. So if I search create session, right, you see for Azure it shows the create session option. In general, if I look where is Azure, right here I can see all available actions. So some things I can do with resource groups, some things I can do with VMs, disks, etc. Right, so you can check it out. It's a good practice to end the session, right? So it does not use extra resources. And to end the session, it's a very simple action, right? It's only one parameter. It's called Azure Client, and this variable gets created when I create a session. So for now, I create a session, right? I populate it with a specific client ID, tenant ID, and subscription ID. And of course, my client ID has a secret. How to so basically, in order to do that, you have to have an Azure subscription, right? And you have to register an app. So register an application in Azure. When you register an application, you will know this information. So you will know the client ID, the tenant ID, and the subscription ID you would be able to get from there. And of course, you would generate a client secret. So that one is simple. Then I run an action to remove delete a resource group, and I go with a simple action, just one resource group. Of course, it can be done dynamically with a variable that or some kind of iteration. You can get the resource group and then remove it, but for now it's a static, easy thing. And then I end the session. I save the flow, and now I run it. It takes a moment to run. I think last time it took it about I don't know, like 30 seconds, maybe a little longer. But while we wait for it, let me check if the group already deleted or not. So if I refresh the page, right, the group is still here. So apparently it's not deleted yet. It takes some time, so it runs for almost a minute. So apparently it's not a very, like a quick action. I think on the background there are some throttling or API limitations, because we still just make an API call that we do not see, but that's what happens when we authenticate with a service principal. And it's still running. So yeah, it takes a while, doesn't it? Still running. So almost 2 minutes now this thing is running. Let me maybe pause this video and get back when it's finished. That way we know for sure. Okay, so finally the flow finished running. It took it about 2.5 minutes to finish. And if I go back to the portal, you see it shows the resource not found. So apparently the resource group is deleted for now, right? Yeah, if I click here, not found. Good, so you get an idea. From what I see now, it's not really fast action, right? But it's a good thing, to automate it, to run it on the background. If you're doing something and at the same time there is some kind of automated cleanup task that runs. So I hope it's been helpful. Have a wonderful day. Stay healthy. Bye bye.